Welcome to the MBL Rookie Draft. Today we'll see teams select franchise players who will forever change the culture of the team while having immediate success. While some teams will weigh risk versus reward, banking on a player's potential to develop. Some players will go on to be champions, Hall of Famers. Even though they were drafted in later rounds, their success won't be denied. You are witnessing the leader in full immersion gaming, the Madden Bomber League. So join our journey today. Go to 365.maddenbomberleague.com and take your chance to become a legend and forever be remembered like Lucky Jordan, Asa Sharar, because legends never die. And you're watching the MBL Network.
And we are live, folks. Welcome, everyone, to the Season 27 MBL Rookie Draft. Xbox Live server issues cannot keep us away, folks. We roll on. Every team looking forward to this night each and every year, and we appreciate everybody tuning into the MBL Network. I'm OSU. I'm hanging with my man, Sonny. We were bringing you pick-by-pick analysis for all 32 draft picks. Sonny, it's an exciting night in the MBL. Started off with a little bit of a hiccup with Xbox servers going down, but I think everybody at Microsoft knew how important this night was to the Madden Bomber League.
Well, they just knew you couldn't keep the Madden Bomber League down. We clicked enter about 5,000 times combined between all of our members to make sure we got online tonight, and here we are, ready to go, and I'm excited about what we're about to see.
32 picks, folks, pick-by-pick analysis for the entire first round. And Sonny, I think it's very obvious if you've watched any of our MBL draft coverage from any of our cycles, especially looking back to, let's look at the last Madden cycle, we saw some big names come out of the draft and make appearances in sort of the history of the MBL, whether it's guys like Gilbert DeGeer or Steven Catula. I mean, we had guys all over the place making appearances, and this is really an important night if anybody's going to make a run at a Super Bowl title next season. Catula. Yeah,
I mean, who could forget, the great fall of Tani Iwabima, just a shout out there. His drop, who could be this year's Iwabima? Who could be the guy that
Peter Legursky, sorry.
Who could be the guy that falls to the middle of the round that everybody passes on and ends up being the best player in this cycle for their position?
Sonny Weaver, the king of the self-compliment, folks. But yeah, this is a huge night here in the MBL night that everybody looks forward to, and we've got round one coverage here on the MBL Network. Sonny, let's get this underway and look at the number one overall pick for this season. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars and owner unisolated. And Sonny, this is a tough one because it turns out the Jacksonville Jaguars, they had an abysmal season, 2-14. This is a team that coming out looked like they had a lot of talent. They have some great wide receivers, but the quarterback position was an issue. You got to think here with the number one overall pick, they're going quarterback, but is there a chance that we see somebody else get drafted at number one?
I think there's a chance. They made an interesting trade in my book. They traded for Jacoby Brissett during the free agency period. Now, obviously, I don't think Brissett is going to be the quarterback of the future there, but does he give you a little bit of ability to put it off till the first or the end of the first round, that second pick, which will be the first pick in the second round? I don't know. I'm kind of interested in that. There's some really good talented players at the top of this draft. In other positions that I think maybe they go away from quarterback.
Well, and we saw the NBL Blitz podcast, which had a very special guest on it. Somebody who knows a lot about what he's talking about. Go over and check that out on the MBL Network. This is a very quarterback-heavy first round. We haven't seen this in a while here in the MBL. We've seen some wide receiver-heavy, but quarterback-heavy. There are some guys, I mean, you're looking at possibly 6-7 guys with first-round talent here in the first round of the MBL draft.
Yeah, definitely. And as Tout just informed me, he has the Jags second-round pick. So that does change things a little bit, but I'm not sure he still goes quarterback.
Well, Tim Hamilton, our very own Timbo, pointing out he just traded for a quarterback. Thinks he goes wide receiver. Sonny, who did the Jacksonville Jaguars pick up?
That would be Jacoby Brissett.
Is Brissett the answer in Jacksonville?
Well, I'm not sure there's any answer in Jacksonville right now based on how that team was last year. I don't know if any rookie quarterback's going to save them.
Yeah, this Jacksonville Jaguars team, though, does have a lot of talent, especially at the wide receiver position. Some losses in the offseason. Aaron Colvin gone, Tashawn Gibson gone at the safety position. So safety, another need, but you'd think with the number one overall pick, It's going to be quarterback for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we just await the pick going to the commissioner. Sonny, let me pose this question to you. With the number 1 overall pick, how important is it being number 1 versus maybe being in the top 10 itself? Is number 1 really going to get that much better a player than 2 or 3?
You know, I've not had any experience with the number 1 pick, but, you know, from an outsider's perspective, I think the talent is pretty comparable in that top 5. I think you're going to see a lot of good players up there.
Well, and the pick is in, and no surprise, the Jacksonville Jaguars make Daniel Shirley the number 1 overall pick here in the season 27 MBL draft. Sonny, you've been big on this guy. He is a very talented quarterback, and he's going to make Jacksonville Jaguars fans very happy.
I think he's going to make Jaguars fans happy. I'm not sure he's got the weapons to succeed right now, especially at the offensive line position. But I think over time he can develop into being a top quarterback.
And I think we actually do have a video of this young fella who is now the number 1 overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is Daniel Shirley, as our producer Delvar cues that bad boy up. Let's let you guys know, fans of the MBL, let's give you a little insight and help you get to know the new number 1 overall pick here in season 27.
All right, let's take a look at Daniel Shirley. Many consider him the best quarterback prospect in MBL history. That's big shoes to fill because we're talking Trent Redmond status with this guy. 22 years old, 6'1", 231 pounds, University of Wisconsin. Throw on the run accuracy was his biggest strength. He can do everything a prototypical quarterback can do. He can stand in the pocket. He can make all the throws, but he's going to give you that unconventional wisdom. He's going to give you the ability to run a little bit of play action, boot to the right, and bomb it down the field for an effortless 50-yard pass. The strongest arm in MBL Season 27 Rookie Draft, and he can get creative in the backfield. He's great on options. This guy can pretty much do it all, and that's why he's a franchise quarterback, and he gets the Bomber Report grade of an A+.
Wow, what a player they are getting in Jacksonville. Perhaps the quarterback of the future. I know that's what Owner Unisolated is hoping for from Daniel Shirley, and we'll see what he can do. Number 1 overall quarterback. A lot of pressure going to be on this young fella's shoulders, but he does get to play with 2 guys by the name of Allen Robinson and Allen Hurns, and that is a pretty nice situation to fall into. Let's go to the number 2 overall pick. Right over to the NFC side, and it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles owner, Decadog, at number 2 overall. Tough season for the Eagles last year, 3-13, and a lot of issues on this team. Could not score. They were the worst scoring offense in the NBL, 11 points per game, folks. That's not a typo. 11 points per game is not very good. Pretty sure there's some Pee Wee teams that could do a little better than that. So offense, Sonny, you got to think is a priority for the Philadelphia Eagles. They have needs at the skill positions, wide receiver and quarterback. Also at running back as well. No more Alshon Jeffrey in Philadelphia. Where do you think the Eagles go with this number 2 overall pick?
Well, no more Alshon Jeffrey, no more Jason Peters, no more LeGarrette Blount. You could literally go anywhere. You know, I look at it, and there's a lot of options here. I kind of like Oscar Adkins out of Nebraska. I think you could provide a nice weapon on the outside, but there's a couple other wide receivers in this draft that could challenge them. If you're looking at a left tackle, I think Kowalski from LSU is the man, but I get the feeling Decadog is going to go for somebody that's going to put some points on the board.
Yeah, they definitely need help on the offensive side of the ball with some sort of skill position. But cornerback is also a need for this Eagles team that's got to play against a tough division, especially with the New York Giants and Odell Beckham Jr. Finding some sort of cornerback to play would be super helpful for the Eagles as we just await the pick. It's been submitted to the commissioner. The Eagles team, they do go wide receiver. And Sonny, they go with Patrick. This is a name that we saw thrown around a lot, especially on the MBL Blitz podcast. A lot of those guys over there love this kid. What does he bring to the Philadelphia Eagles, and is he an answer for their problem scoring the ball?
Well, I think he's somebody that can definitely stretch the field. He's got the speed to get over top. And at 6'6", 236, he's a guy that basically can go up and get those contested balls. And with the way that the quarterback there in Philadelphia tends to throw the ball, you may need somebody that can go up and get the ball. So I like this pick. A lot of people compare him to an A.J. Green, Calvin Johnson type of player that can stretch the field but make the circus catches. I think this guy's going to be big in Philadelphia.
Yeah, Calvin Johnson. We were already seeing the comparisons. This kid out of Georgia, big physical receiver. Lots of players, lots of teams here were hoping that this guy would fall past number 2, but the Philadelphia Eagles could not pass off on a talent like Calvin Patrick. All right, let's go to the number 3 pick. That is the Cincinnati Bengals. Sonny, your former team. Well, this team struggled last year and struggled especially on the defensive side of the ball, giving up 300 yards per game, almost 30 points per game. The worst defense in the MBL. This Bengals offense, they had some trouble, especially in the running game. So offensive line is a big need. No more Vontaze Burfict, no more Adam Jones. They added Ode Abushi, but really in free agency, this Bengals team wasn't a factor. So building through the draft, Sonny, we haven't seen a cornerback go off the board yet. We haven't seen an offensive line go off the board yet. Where do you see number 3 and the Cincinnati Bengals going?
Well, offensive line, they feel like they fixed some of those issues in free agency. I'm not sure I agree with that. Cornerback, really not a position I like in this draft. I think it's a weak class overall. You may look at LaMarcus Marsh out of Penn State, but even looking at him, he's raw. He's going to need a lot of work. I think when I look at it, obviously losing Vontaze Burfict's an issue. But if I had to go ahead and pick a position here, I think they do go quarterback and go with Marsh. But I'm not sure I like that pick here for the Bengals.
Yeah, the pick is into the commissioner. We're waiting to see where the Bengals go, trying to compete in a very competitive AFC North, what I think might be the best division in the NBL, with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. Even though we know the Browns are not top 5, Sonny, that is still true, correct?
That is correct. You know what you won't see tonight? The Browns in the top 5.
There you go. The pick is in, and we have our first offensive lineman off the board. That's right, folks. The Bengals go with Kolkowski at number 3, Sonny. We know how important the offensive line is in the NBL. We see all the time top 5 picks, top 10 picks being mostly skill positions players, but the Bengals, they knew they had a need at one of the key positions on the offensive line, and they get it in this guy, Kolkowski.
Yeah, I really like that pick, actually, for the Bengals. Their line was atrocious last season. And when you think about it, the move they made to get Ode Abusi, he's more of a right tackle, and he's more of a finesse right tackle. I like the move here. Protect Andy Dalton's blind side. You've got good running backs there, but somebody's got to create a hole for them to run through. I think you're going to get it here, and I'm glad the Bengals went here and went to try to improve from the trenches out.
Yeah, I love seeing teams building from the trenches. And trying to get the offensive line is such a key because the running game is becoming such a prevalent part of the MBL. So a good pick there by the Cincinnati Bengals. Let's go to number 4. That's where we find the Denver Broncos. And owner brawler. Well, it was a tough season for the Bengals, 4-12 in that very competitive AFC West, a tough division to play in. And the Broncos know they need help, especially on the defensive and offensive side of the ball in terms of mostly points. Their numbers, their peripheral numbers are pretty good. They were 7th in the NBL in putting up yards, and they were 7th in the NBL in stopping the opposing teams, which is they just couldn't keep them out of the end zone. They couldn't get into the end zone. Finishing drives, an important part for the Denver Broncos. You look at their losses, no more TJ Ward in Denver. They added Jerick McKinnon, but they have needs on the offensive line. And of course, Sonny, we said it from the get-go, the quarterback position is a concern. Chad Kelly, not the issue. With Shirley off the board, do you see our second quarterback going to the Denver Broncos?
Well, first I need to point out that you explained that they can't score enough points and they give up too many points.
Yeah.
Yes, John Madden, that is a good way to lose games. So I appreciate you.
I didn't say that was the reason why they were losing. I said they couldn't do either of them. Yeah,
well, you know what? Julius Stewart is an option here. Maybe Ross Bonham if they prefer that route more, the pocket passer. Chad Kelly is not the answer, brawler. If you think Chad Kelly is the answer in Denver, that's why you're not going to win.
Well, here's all I'm saying. I'm the owner of the Oakland Raiders. If you think Chad Kelly's the answer, brawler, stick with Chad Kelly. I love that guy. Keep him at the quarterback position. That's an unbiased opinion from your network director here as we are just awaiting the Denver Broncos pick at number 4. Sonny, how far away is this Denver Broncos team from competing in the AFC West? We know how difficult it is, especially with the LA Chargers at the top of that division. But the AFC, do you see them in a couple years, maybe this year, even with a pick here, getting into the playoffs, or is this team a couple years out?
Well, I think he may be as far away as Z-Star is from the top 5.
Ouch. Ouch! Well, the pick is in, and we have our second quarterback go off the board, Sonny Weaver. It is Stewart going off the board to the Denver Broncos. So apparently, I would assume that this tells you that Dark Brawler and the Denver Broncos don't think Chad Kelly is the answer either. Julius Stewart out of Clemson, a very mechanical. They're saying Stewart is very mechanical in his drop step and thoroughly understands how to move the pocket and evade when the pocket collapses. Sonny, this is a guy who maybe had a tendency to get a little happy feet and get out of the pocket early, but I think in Denver, they're going to be very happy with this guy.
Well, I think after seeing a year of Chad Kelly in Denver, you're going to be happy to see anybody else under center there. The love affair between ownership and Chad Kelly is now over. And so Julius Stewart's going to take over, and I like what this kid brings. He's got a good build to him. I think he can get the ball downfield. One thing he's going to have to work on is accuracy. I think there's still some work there to be done, especially in the deep to intermediate routes.
Now we get to another team that has a possible need at quarterback. We've already seen 2 go off the board, and now at number 5, we have the San Francisco 49ers, Sonny. Just this 49ers team, we've known about their quarterback troubles. Nobody thinks Brian Hoyer is the answer in San Francisco. I think everybody, when we looked at the mock drafts, thought San Francisco for sure going quarterback here. The only question is who they would be able to take with 2 quarterbacks off the board. And now no more Carlos Hyde in San Francisco. They bring in Sam Bradford in the offseason, and that was a very interesting pickup. A guy who has had trouble staying healthy, but I think San Francisco thinks that that Sam Bradford is the answer for San Francisco. So where does this shift their needs? Are we going to see a running back go top 5, maybe another offensive lineman?
Well, I think this team's built to actually be better than people think they are right now. And if you don't think you're going to be back here, anybody who's followed MBL knows that cornerbacks go quick. I know he feels good about his secondary, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Marsh go off the board here. Running back, I think they'll wait till the 2nd or 3rd round. It's a good class there. Offensive lineman in play, but I think Kowalski going early in the draft was the pick that possibly you may have saw the 49ers take here. I don't expect quarterback, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, it's just a matter of do the San Francisco 49ers and owner October think Sam Bradford is the answer. Got some stuff coming into the chat. Neil Wallace saying, is Bradford the Band-Aid or the real deal? That is the question. The pick is in, and they go offense. They take wide receiver, looking to give some weapons to Sam Bradford. They take Babbers, Marquise Babbers. This guy, between Patrick and Babbers, is a big debate which one would be the first wide receiver to go. Sonny, what do you think of San Francisco going with the skill position?
Well, they go with another big-bodied wide receiver. We've seen two receivers go so far in this draft. We saw Patrick. We saw Babbers. Both these guys are the big type of jump ball wide receivers that I think teams are trending towards now. You can be a little less accurate. Obviously, you've got Sam Bradford, so maybe accuracy not as big of an issue, but definitely one that I'm interested in seeing.
And we do have a video on this talented wide receiver, Marquise, I'm calling him Babbers. I like the Babbles. I like calling him the Babbers. People saying the Babers from the Bay. Settled down. He went to Penn State. There is no Bay in Pennsylvania. It's Marquise Babbers. Let's see what the San Francisco 49ers can expect out of the first-round pick.
I believe this guy is the #1 wide receiver in the MBL Season 27 Rookie Draft. This Marquise Babbers, 6'5", 221 pounds, 23 years old, Penn State University, Big Ten Player of the Year. I can go on and on, but work ethic and character on top of it all with the talent. This guy's a big-time player. He can get it done on the big stage in the big lights. He can toe-tap the sideline, catch over the top, explosive receiver, high-point receiver, and best of all, in college, he's DIA. That means he's done it all.
What a player they are getting in San Francisco. A weapon for Sam Bradford. Look out for the 49ers in that NFC West, a division that I think is possibly up for grabs, especially with the pick as talented as Marquise Babbers. Let's go to the #6 overall pick, and that's where we find Mr. Chunky and the Green Bay Packers in the NFC North. This Packers team, well, they got to find out what it was like playing in that NFC North, folks. That is a tough division with the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears. 3 teams in that division with 10 wins or more, along with the Minnesota Vikings. The Packers, they just ended up being on the bottom of that division, going 5-11. They're looking for a big year this year, but they lost one of their defensive leaders. Clay Matthews no longer in Green Bay. It's going to be weird not seeing Clay Matthews at the top of that defense. They added Sterling Moore. They added Bryce Butler, 2 nice pieces, but a big need for Green Bay is at the cornerback position. Sonny, it's rare. We're at number 6. We haven't seen a cornerback go off the board. You got to think that's a perfect fit for the Green Bay Packers.
I do agree it would be a perfect fit. Obviously, Marsh is still the pick here if the cornerbacks the way they go. They've got some young corners there, but I'm not sure they're talented enough to really carry the team. Again, in a weak cornerback draft, I'm not sure Marsh is even the pick here. Now, I'll tell you, Tremont Pierce is interesting. The middle linebacker, everybody's swooning over. He's the physical freak, the guy who's going to run you down. He can make all the plays. Watch for him here. I know there's a lot of talk about him. You could see him here in the top 10.
Yeah, will be interesting to see where the Green Bay Packers go. Sonny, let me give you a follow-up question here with the Packers. I mean, that division, Vikings, Bears, Lions. Do the Packers, are the Packers even close to competing in this division, or are we needing some sort of catastrophic collapse by the other teams to see the Packers get any progress in the NFC North?
Well, let me put it to you this way. They are about as far away from winning this division as Star is from being in the top 5.
There it is. There's the answer. The pick is in. And folks, in the top 6, we have our first halfback go. Something we haven't seen in quite a while here in the NBL. DeMarco Riley, the pick out of Texas A&M, 6'1", 199, a speed back for sure. Sonny, in Green Bay, they really want to run the ball more, especially against these high-powered offenses. Slow down the game. At number 6. I mean, this was a guy who was projected to go maybe mid-first round to late first round. Is this a reach going at number 6, or is DeMarco Riley the answer in Green Bay?
DeMarco Riley is a running back, just so you guys know. Anyways, no, this guy is legit. He's a speedster that can get to the outside, make guys miss. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Jamal Charles. I like his size. I think he's the guy that can carry the team. Now, I wonder if they're going to be able to actually get the running game going because they've got so many other needs there. However, what I will say is in that division, they can learn a lot maybe from the Minnesota Vikings in the way they attack the run.
It would be very interesting to see what Riley can do in the NFC North. A lot of inclement weather up there, folks. We know those teams up there play in the snow, they play in the driving rain, and getting a running game going in the NFC North is a key, and the Green Bay Packers addressing that need. Let's go to the number 7 overall pick. That's where we find the Miami Dolphins and owner Pricey. Sonny, this may be the first of these top picks that I think the Dolphins were better than their record indicate. This is a team that played competitively in almost every game, and I think something that not a lot of people expected out of the Miami Dolphins, but no more Cameron Wake, no more Anthony Fasano. They add Devin Kennard and Allen Bailey, but they have needs at the offensive line and especially defensively, getting some stops on the defensive side of the ball. Where do we see these Miami Dolphins going with the number 7 overall pick?
Well, linebacker again is in play here. They do add Kennard, but I think something in the middle there. I think Kiko Alonso still is around.
Yes.
You could take Pierce and maybe look at moving Alonso. I'm not sure that's in the plans up front. If we're looking on the offensive line, there's a couple options. Their line, they got Laramie Tunsil a couple years ago. So I don't think that. I think I look actually to the right side of the line, maybe a Von Morrison, the zone blocking right tackle from Wisconsin. Wisconsin's got a history of producing some really nice tackles. That could be the next one in the long line.
Big Ten football, they love running the ball. This is the second worst rushing attack in the NBL, only averaging 38.6 yards on the ground with Jay Ajayi. And Mr. Ajayi, you got yourself some help on the defensive line. They do go with Morrison. Sonny, you got to think with the Miami Dolphins having that number 7 overall pick, they couldn't let an offensive lineman go past them. This should help a team that has talent at the running back position.
Oh, for sure. And I really like Morrison. I think he's a guy that's going to lead the way for Ajayi. I think if this team is going to compete, they've got to run the ball, and the best way to do that is secure the trenches, get a good line in front of Ajayi, and let him go.
So Miami, look out for those guys in that AFC East division. Very competitive. Know the Dolphins only had 5 wins last year, but they played very tough in a lot of those games. A lot of close losses. I ended up getting a win over the eventual AFC champion New England Patriots. So look out for the Dolphins in season 27. All right, Sonny, a team we're going to see a lot in this NBL draft. At number 8, we have the Cleveland Browns, who have, I think, Sonny, correct me if I'm wrong, they have roughly 134 picks.
Yes, 134 to be exact.
I think that was the number 8, Z-Star, and the Cleveland Browns, who, as everyone knows, they are not top 5 at all. The Browns getting absolutely shellacked in the playoffs, but they were a playoff team and a team that played competitively in almost all of their games, except for one glaring example. Sonny, the Browns, they got to compete with that Pittsburgh Steelers team. They probably going to need help at the skill positions. Wide receiver in Cleveland is a problem. Cornerback is a problem. No more John Greco, but really weren't really a player in free agency. They like their offensive line, even with the loss of John Greco, so you got to think skill position with Cleveland.
Yeah, I think they would have loved to see Patrick or Babers fall. I think that's one of the things they were holding out hope for here at number 8. Wide receiver, there's still some good options on the board. I personally am a fan of Oscar Atkins, the speedster out in Nebraska, but I'm not sure that's what he's going to do. I could see him actually punting on that idea. Marsh still sitting there at number 8 is an interesting pick. They've got some younger defensive backs playing for him right now that may be losing a step here or there. Maybe they go early, get a cornerback, knowing they may not be back up here this high in the draft again going forward.
Yeah, the Cleveland Browns ended up trading a couple of their picks to pick up that number 11 overall pick. So 2 picks out of the next 4 are going to be the Cleveland Browns. This is their first one at number 8. We'll see where the Browns go. The first of our teams in the top 10 that was a competitive team, that was a playoff team. The pick is in. And Sonny, they do go wide receiver. And they go with Demanch. This is an interesting pick for Cleveland. We knew wide receiver was one of the key positions for the Cleveland Browns. And with the Browns, the question was where they would go, what wide receivers would be available. The third one off the board going to Cleveland.
Yeah, that's interesting. So they value the wide receiver out of Ole Miss. You know, that's interesting. I think he does have some talents. I'm still a fan of not necessarily going with the manch, but, you know, to each their own. I think some people had him higher than others.
6'1", 213, a very good, he's got good hands. Everyone knows he's a good route runner. So he's not going to blow you away with his speed. He's not going to blow you away with his size like the first 2 wide receivers taken in this draft, but he'll be very effective in Cleveland. A lot of people asking for a network update, not producing this one. Big shout out to our producer, Delvar, behind the sscenes. But if I was producing, I would give that network update a big push. I'd be pushing all draft and everyone would get annoyed with me. Let's go to number 9. We're going to head out to the NFC West. It is the Los Angeles Rams at number 9. And Sonny, this Rams team, well, they're playing in that NFC West, a division that the eventual Super Bowl champion came out of. This Rams team feels like they're pretty close to competing. And with the number 9 pick, a top 10 pick in the MBL draft, they certainly can be effective with this pick, especially with the pickup of John Greco in the offseason, signing him from Cleveland, coming over to LA to shore up that offensive line with Todd Gurley. Where do you see the Rams going?
I'm going to guess outside linebacker.
Yeah, it is outside linebacker. The Rams were very eager to pick at number 9. They go with the outside linebacker, Milburn. Sonny, our first linebacker off the board. Actually, that's our first defensive player off the board here at number 9. What do you think about him in LA?
Oh, I love him a lot. I think he's possibly the best outside linebacker in this draft. This guy's going to get upfield. He can pass rush with the bull rush or the spin move. He can do anything he wants on the field. This could be the next great linebacker here in NBL.
Plus, what a name. Adonis Milburn. I mean, with the name like that, you've got to have a ton of pressure on you. The first name like Adonis, but in LA, no more Connor Barwin in LA. He's going to help fill in on the defensive side of the ball and try to get the Rams back to the playoffs. Let's go to number 10. That's where we find the Baltimore Ravens. And this Ravens team, Sonny, this Ravens team was incredibly competitive at 9-7. One of the big surprises of the NBL. I think if it weren't for the Chicago Bears, the Ravens would be the big surprise at 9-7 in the AFC North. But they just have a brutal division. Got to play against the Steelers and the Browns every year, twice a year. And for the Baltimore Ravens, they definitely have a need on the defensive side of the ball, especially in the trenches. They have a need at wide receiver. No more Crockett Gilmore. Where do the Ravens go at number 10?
Well, I think this may be finally where we see Pierce, the middle linebacker. Everybody's been talking about go. You could see a wide receiver still because they did trade Brashard Perriman, I believe, to New England? Question mark. Can't remember. So. This could be the spot for Oscar Adkins. Couple options here. I don't think defensive line is in play yet. There are some good ones there, but in a 3-4, that defensive line gets a little basically phased out, I should say.
Sorry, Vikings. They went to the Vikings.
Oh, okay, the Vikings. So there's Brashard Perriman. And so, yeah, I can see wide receiver Atkins here or possibly Pierce. Either way here, interestingly enough, the cornerback Marsh falling out of the top 10, that's got to be one of my biggest surprises so far this draft.
And now we get to see where the Baltimore Ravens go with this number 10 overall pick. It'll be interesting to see if they decide to go with that middle linebacker falling. And we've seen one defensive player go. We saw him at number 9, the outside linebacker Milburn going. But at the end of the day, it's been an offensive-driven top 9. And now as we're getting to the end of the top 10, we'll see where Baltimore decides to go if they want to help out the offensive defense. And they go with the offensive side of the ball. Sonny Adkins, the speedster, going to the Baltimore Ravens. The middle linebacker, the defense is fallen. Somebody's going to be really happy to pick him up. Maybe at number 11 where we have the Cleveland Browns, but let's look at what the Baltimore Ravens did. Are you surprised they go offense?
No, not at all. Like I said, Perriman's gone. They got to find some weapons there. Wallace, they got some old guys running on the offensive side of the ball. They needed somebody to get downfield. You saw the Cleveland Browns go with DeMonch. So really Atkins was the last big-time wide receiver. And I'm wondering, some of the mid to late guys were thinking those wide receivers were going to fall. We see basically all the top wide receivers go off the board in the top 10. I think some people on the backside are freaking out.
Oscar Adkins, the Heisman Trophy winner out of Nebraska, going at number 10. Now we can see at number 11, a familiar team, Sonny. Pick number 2 of 134. It is the Cleveland Browns. At number 11, they went wide receiver to start. We know where their needs are in Cleveland. They filled a big one with DeManch. I know you're not as big on him, but they needed a wide receiver. We see the Browns maybe pick up Marsh he might be the best player available at this point.
Well, Marsh may be the best player available at this point. Like I said, I think it's a value pick here. You've got 3 older cornerbacks currently playing in that secondary. You got to get some guys that can really cover some of these good wide receivers we're seeing in the division. Now, one thing I will say is obviously Pierce is still in play here. He's kind of the freak people have been watching come up the draft board. So we'll have to see how this goes.
Sonny, at what point do we start Gooch Watch 2017?
Well, I think Gooch Watch 2017 will start somewhere around pick 16 to 18. One of the top defensive tackles in this draft.
Yeah. And not only a great last name, but a first name of Churfy. What a name, Churfy Gooch. Don't think he's going to go this high, but we'll see where he goes as we get towards the back half of the draft. Cleveland with their second pick here in the MBL draft. We appreciate everybody tuning in tonight to the MBL Season 27 Rookie Draft. I'm OSU. I'm hanging out with my man, Sonny. Big shout out to our producer, Delvar, behind the scenes, pulling all the strings for our draft show, one of our best shows of the year. A lot of that due to the work of our producer, Delvar. As the pick is into the commissioner, let's see where the Cleveland Browns go as they try to make a run for that AFC North title, which I believe owner Z-Star was saying in the second year. That's when he was predicting the Browns were going to win the AFC North. Sonny, with the revelation of the Browns still not top 5, are they going to be top 1 in the AFC North?
I don't believe so. They're not top 5. They're not top 1. And this pick is in, and they go with the middle linebacker Pierce, and that is one of those picks. He's been coming up the boards throughout the process. Every year there's a guy that once they hit the combine, somebody comes out, they show out at the combine, they climb their way up the board. This guy was projected as a second-round pick coming into the draft. He hits the combine, and here we go. We got Pierce at number 11.
Yeah, going middle linebacker, going defense. Shannon Rose, that's very true, but they're still better than the Raiders. I think the Raiders went 12-4. I think the Raiders went 12-4, and the Browns... Well, where did the Browns go? 10-6. I know, Sonny. I'm just saying we got to stop for this for a second. I think we've just proved that the number 1 overall pick and worst team in the MBL is also one of the worst at math.
Yeah, there you go. One of the worst at math. Correct.
Well, let's go to number 12, and it's our producer, Delvar. So if we say anything bad, he will cut down the stream. So the Jets, one of the best teams in the MBL, undefeated, and obviously should have won the Super Bowl or something like that. New York Jets at number 12 in the AFC East. Sonny, where do you see Delvar and the New York Jets going?
That's a good question. Where do you see Delvar going? He brings in Kirk Cousins. He gets 2 cornerbacks, and Evan Lawson, Delvin Brook. Marsh is out there, and I know that Delvar brought in 2 corners, a little bit older, but at 12, I could see that as a value pick. There's still a couple good offensive linemen there. I think it's too early to go running back, and wide receiver is also another position that's kind of been cleaned out at this point. I kind of think the value pick of Marsh here at number 12 is the way to go, but we'll have to wait and see.
One of the most interesting offseason acquisitions, Sonny Weaver, Kirk Cousins now in New York, filled a big hole for the Jets who had problems at the quarterback position. What will Kirk Cousins do for this New York Jets team?
Well, I think what he's going to do is he's going to give them a capable quarterback, something they lacked last year with all the quarterbacks on their roster for that matter. I think Kirk Cousins is a guy that can put the ball where it needs to be. Now, I have some questions about if they have the weapons to do that with, but at least he's capable of trying to get it there.
Let's see where the New York Jets go as Delvar furiously looking at his draft board. And one of the big hosses in the trench going off the board here at number 12, it is the right guard Folston. Sonny, a need for this New York Jets team was offensive line. They go into the trenches. They pick up the guard Folston. What do you think of the pick for New York?
Well, I think it's a good time to build through the trenches. Folston was still one of the better offensive linemen I had on my board. Now, you look at this, the problem was what happened in front of Delvar. The wide receivers came off the board. I think he thought he was going to be able to get one there at 12. Just didn't quite happen for him. So he goes for the trenches, gives his quarterback a little more time to give those receivers a little more time to get open downfield.
Let's go to number 13, and it is the Buffalo Bills staying in that AFC East. Bills, an interesting up and down season. Ended up sitting at 8-8 by the end of the year. This was a team that had a very good defense, actually the number 5 yardage defense, number 6 against the pass. Offensively, though, they could not pass the ball with Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. They had, of course, LaShawn McCoy at running back, and that helped. They were able to put up some points, but at the end of the day, quarterback is an issue. Tyrod Taylor, a key loss. I don't know if they call that a loss in Buffalo. I think many would call that a win, but Tyrod Taylor no longer in Buffalo. Do we see another quarterback? Is there another quarterback at this point that's still on the board here at number 13?
Oh, yeah, we've got a lot of quarterbacks here. This is a very quarterback-deep draft. I'm looking right now, and I could easily see Ross Bonham going here. But I think at this point, knowing that he's got another pick here and just 2 picks, he's going to go for value. You've got the Redskins sitting there. Obviously, again, I'm going to keep repeating this. You've got Marsh, the cornerback, sitting there. I could see him going there because obviously the Redskins, they lose Brashard Breeland. They've got an older Josh Norman there. There's some things that I think Porter and the Redskins are saying they're hoping Marsh falls to him at 14. So I could see the Bills jumping in front of him right here, taking him. I could also see him going with one of these linebackers. They lost a lot as far as linebackers go. They do pick up Vontaze Burfict. I think there's some questions there still of what else is there. And then obviously Kyle Williams gone. Got to replace him in the middle.
And of course, another one of these teams that has multiple picks here in the MBL draft, they'll be picking once again at number 15. So they just got to decide if cornerback is worth taking at 13. And Sonny, you called it. You put it right on the dot. You are way better than TFA is at this job. Marsh, the cornerback, goes off the board. They knew that he wouldn't fall to 15. Washington would have been happy to pick up Marsh, and Buffalo shores up the secondary with that pick. Nice pick by Buffalo.
Yeah, great pick there by Buffalo, and it was the right play there. I have no doubt in my mind the Redskins at 14 were starting to get really excited thinking Marsh was going to hit them there. They go up, they get the value pick. I'm not sure they actually needed that right now, but you can never have too many cornerbacks. With Marsh being the best cornerback on the board, that was the right way to go.
And now we go to that number 14 pick, the Washington Redskins with the Bills picks on either side. This is where they are. Sonny, how big of a loss is it of Marsh not falling to them at 14? I know the Redskins were really – that was Redskins, by the way. That was the Washington Redskins. The Redskins big on Marsh. They were hoping they would follow them at 14. Buffalo snatches it right out of their hands. What does this do for the Washington Redskins plan with this number 14 pick?
Yeah, well, I think it throws it all out of whack. I think I'm not sure they thought he would ever get there, but now that he got that close, that's got to be heartbreaking. When you look at the rest of the team, they bring in Kenny Golladay. I'm not sure that replaces Terrell Pryor, but there's not a lot of wide receivers left on the board. Trent Murphy, I think, does exit there in the offseason, so outside linebacker could be a play here, possibly a defensive lineman. Quarterback is interesting.
Sure.
Quarterback's a place where
Kirk Cousins.
No, Kirk Cousins, and Bonham sitting there. He's the last of the guys I've rated as kind of that mid to upper tier quarterback. So I could see Bonham going here at 14, which would kind of be turnabout's fair play, because I think at 15, the Buffalo Bills would be really happy to get Bonham.
How big was this trade? One of the underrated trades we haven't talked about a whole lot. The Redskins sent Keith Marshall to Detroit, and Detroit sent Kenny Golladay to Washington. Washington filling a need at wide receiver. They like what they have out of the young wide receiver in Kenny Golladay. They gave up a lot in Keith Marshall, but what does that trade do for their plans at 14?
Well, see, I think Keith Marshall was a bench player. I'm not sure he ever had a chance to really start in Washington. What I will say, though, is Galladay does give him something there, and it caused a chain reaction. The Lions cut Golden Tate only to bring him back after that trade, and I think they were starting to think going into the draft with only one wide receiver on the roster may be a little bit of an issue.
Yeah, no matter how good Matt Stafford is, he actually does need somebody at the wide receiver position. And that's why they felt like it was necessary to go back out and get Golden Tate. But the Washington Redskins, the pick is into the commissioner. We're just waiting to hear from the commissioner who the Washington Redskins go. While we have a moment, we want to give a big shout out to, as always, our graphic sponsor, web3ks.com. They do a ton of graphics for us across all the network shows. They do that overlay you see on MBL Live each and every week, and they're super affordable. So if you or anyone you know needs graphics done for an affordable price, head over to web3ks.com. The leaders in affordable graphic design. Sonny, the pick is in, and it is a quarterback. It is Zach Belisari, filling the shoes of Kirk Cousins. I'm having like PTSD flashbacks to Steve Belisari at Ohio State, so I assume he's better than that. Zach Belisari, fill the quarterback position in Washington.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of too, as well.
That's terrifying.
Yes, it is. Hopefully, he has a better career than Steve. It's personal preference. A lot of these things come down to who prefers what, and in this case, Washington preferred Belisari. I was more of a Bonham kind of guy. I'm okay with this pick. You had to get a quarterback of the future with Cousins gone, and in this one, they do get that quarterback, and we'll see how he goes this year.
Yeah, Zach Belisari in Washington now filling the big shoes of Kirk Cousins. And I know that Washington ended up not bringing back Kirk Cousins. He has moved on. But at the end of the day, Cousins was a great representative for the Washington Redskins, and Belisari has some shoes to fill in Washington. Let's go to number 15. Sonny, I'm having deja vu. It's the Buffalo Bills. Quarterback still available here. Belisari, I haven't heard a lot of talk out of Buffalo about wanting Belisari. They went with the cornerback Marsh at 13. Do we see a quarterback going to Buffalo at number 15?
Well, I think Bonham would be the pick here if they were going to go quarterback, and I think that's the way I would go here. I think defensive tackle, we haven't seen many come off the board. I think they need to address that eventually. They can pass for now, so I'm going with the quarterback here with this pick.
Yeah, Ross Bonham still on the board. A projected really top. Everyone was saying top 5, top 10. But as you said, Sonny, and I think that was very important to point out. A lot of this comes down to just personal preferences. We talked about on the NBL Blitz podcast. A lot of these guys, their stats are similar. You saw the uber talented go 1, 2, 3. But beyond that, a lot of it just depends on those interviews with the scouting staff, those interviews with ownership, who they like. So we'll see if they do go with Ross Bonham out of Stanford here at number 15. The second pick for the Buffalo Bills here in the first round, as we were just past the halfway mark. And Sonny, well, we made a TFA pick there because it is not Ross Bonham. He's still available, folks, at number 15. They go with the linebacker Gross. I can only assume the Buffalo Bills don't think that this guy is gross at all. They think he is going to be a big part of this Bills defense, hoping to compete in that AFC East.
Well, here is my issue with that. You just signed Vontaze Burfict. Burfict plays right outside linebacker. You bring Gross in. Okay, so maybe one of those plays left outside linebacker. Left outside linebacker is now basically a position that's a sub package. Most people are going to sit in nickel formation most of the time because that's basically become the new base package. So you just drafted a linebacker in the top 15 that's only going to play 30% of your snaps. I just don't see the value here.
Yeah, an interesting pick nonetheless. I know Buffalo very high on this guy, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of impact he has and how he plays with Vontaze Burfict, who they did sign in the offseason. Halfway through the draft, folks, let's go to number 16. It's where we find the Atlanta Falcons owner, Doughboy. The Falcons, this is a team that I know Doughboy, the owner, he's very big on this team, and not just because he has ownership interest. He really thinks that there's a lot of talent in Atlanta. Of course, with Matt Ryan at the helm, Devontae Freeman, Tevin Coleman, the 1-2 punch at running back. So offensively, though, it was surprised last year, Sonny. This team struggled. 26th in yardage gained, 22nd passing, 24th rushing. Their defense was a top 5 defense, something we've come to know from owner Doughboy. But at the end of the day, offensively, they couldn't move the ball. But as we look at their needs, it's still talent-wise defensively. Is this an issue of the Atlanta Falcons' talented players on the offensive side of the ball just needs to be better, or do they need to add pieces?
Well, hey, yeah, I look at this team and I'm not sure how they went what they did. You've got weapons all around, the needs it has here, defensive end, linebacker, cornerback. You've got a good front seven. It's a little surprising. I'm not sure they go linebacker or defensive end at this point. Maybe defensive tackle. Dontario Poe is playing on the tag this year. Cornerback, I think it's still too early to go cornerback again in such a thin draft class. Offensively, I'm not sure there's weapons. I'm not really sure where they go right now. They're kind of in limbo. If I had to take a pick, I'd say defensive tackle. There's some really good value right now there.
Sure, if you goosh.
Yeah, and if you wanted to go defensive end, there's a couple guys there, but I'm not sure that's really the way to go. It's Karis McKinley. You got
good.
Vic Beasley. You got guys lined up everywhere that are just quality players.
Yeah, great point pointed out by our commissioner, Neil Wallace. They won 8 games, played 6 without Julio and Matt Ryan. So staying healthy on the offensive side of the ball is a big part. But turns out that even with the 1-2 punch on the ground of Coleman and Freeman, they just couldn't get the run game going in a division with some very good defense. Of course, the Carolina Panthers, New Orleans Saints played better than I think a lot of people thought. At number 16, it is defensive end. They go with Burgess. Sonny, the Falcons want to be able to stop some of those speedy running backs in the NFC South. The one name that comes to mind, of course, is Christian McCaffrey in Carolina. They shore up the defensive line and make, I think, a really nice pick at 16.
Yeah, I actually like this pick a lot. Burgess is one of the best defensive ends I had in this draft. I think getting him at 16 is a steal. He's a guy that can get to the quarterback, rush the passer, play the defense, play the run. He's a guy who I think can secure the edge down there for Doughboy.
I think it's interesting in this quote, championship hand fighter on the college level. Is that like UFC, but you don't want to, no hitting anywhere past the hands?
Oh, he's got those hands. You better watch out.
Well, Rashad Burgess out of Louisville going to the Atlanta Falcons. Let's go to the number 17 overall pick. That's where we find the Dallas Cowboys. This Cowboys team, Sonny, one of the best offensive lines in the NBL, at least talent-wise. This Cowboys team, I know they were a little disappointed where they finished last year, especially in that NFC East. But at 8-8, they want to make that next step. They want to get to the playoffs. Surprisingly, though, Sonny, this Cowboys offensive line struggled to open up holes in the rushing game. 65 yards per game on the ground. That was good for 23rd in the MBL. No more Stephen Payne, no more Alfred Morris, but they bring in Star Lotulelei to shore up the defensive line. They also bring in Amir Abdullah. Needs on the defensive side of the ball for Dallas. Where do you think the Dallas Cowboys go here with the number 17 pick?
Well, I like what they've done so far in free agency. I actually think this is a perfect spot for Raymond Wan, the middle linebacker out of Louisville. He's a run-stopping linebacker. He'll solidify the inside of that defense. He's also from Louisville, going with Burgess. So back-to-back Louisville players. I think Wan goes right here.
Yeah, Louisville just churning out the talent here in the MBL Season 27 rookie draft here at number 17. The Dallas Cowboys, America's team. Sonny, is Dallas still America's team? Is that still a thing?
That's negative good.
That's negative Ghost Rider, not America's team. How about the Cleveland Browns? Are they America's team?
No, but they're also not top 5.
So they're not America's team or not top 5. The Cleveland Browns. But if you don't know what we're talking about, head over to the network and check out our NBL live broadcast for the Browns playoff game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. You're going to feel better about everything in life after watching that game. Sonny, it was a special game to call. Just special. The pick's in. We got a tight end off the board at number 17. It is Dwyer. Dallas had needs on the defensive side of the ball. They decided to shore up the offensive side of the ball, give another weapon to Dak Prescott. Sonny, 17, Dwyer, maybe a reach here at 17. What do you think of the pick?
Well, I think he's a little bit of a reach. 6'2", 248. He's not the biggest guy out on the field. In fact, we've actually had wide receivers. We've had multiple wide receivers that have gone here and been bigger than this tight end. So little surprise there. I don't think he's going to give you much from a blocking standpoint, which you talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the running attack. You think your tight ends have to be able to block. Dyer's more of a, receiving tight end. Not sure about this pick.
What would you say Dwyer is more of a Greg Olsen type player?
Greg Olsen type player. I think he's smaller than Greg Olsen, honestly.
That would make sense. And he's definitely younger. We do know that one, is he is younger than Greg Olsen. As we go to the number 18 overall pick, and let's head back to the NFC South. It's the New Orleans Saints. Coming in at number 18 as we're getting into the bottom half of the draft, folks. Appreciate everybody tuning in to the MBL Draft Season 17. As Shadow Rose continues to talk trash in the MBL live chat. I don't think you can talk trash if you're the worst team in the MBL, but he continues to do it. As the New Orleans Saints, no more Delvin Breaux in New Orleans. They bring in Nick Mangold, who's we know he's getting up there in age, but he's a leader on the offensive line. We'll shore up that offensive line. Needs that linebacker and especially needs that cornerback. And look at that quarterback, Sonny. Is there a chance that New Orleans drafts their quarterback of the future here with the number 18 overall pick?
Well, it's a possibility. Drew Brees getting older. I think he's playing this year on a tag. Not a whole lot left in Brees' career, so there's some value here. I think Bonham's still on the board, so I'd look for him possibly. But there's some good linebackers. I just talked about Juan, the middle linebacker. I think he could go here. Cornerback, not any quarterbacks on the board I'm taking here at number 18. Maybe an outside linebacker to try and improve the pass rush here in New Orleans, but something on the defensive side of the ball would be a good start.
Yeah, we've seen drafts here in the MBL that have been very cornerback heavy, but just not a lot here in terms of first-round talent. You do see some coming in second and third round, but there just aren't a whole lot of cornerbacks here. As Sonny, they go with Bonham, the quarterback. The New Orleans Saints looking to the future, looking when Drew Brees is no longer in New Orleans. They pick up Bonham, an interesting pick. But if you're Bonham, you got to think, I got an opportunity to sit behind one of the best quarterbacks of all time in Drew Brees, one of the most prolific passers, and learn from him, and then take over from him in 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, I like this a lot. What you're going to do here is you're going to get a chance to let him sit for a year, and after that year, he's going to be unleashed to the world, and I think it's a great move. It's thinking to the future. New Orleans knows they're not going to win this season, but they know they can plan for the future. I think this is a good route for New Orleans.
Yeah, really nice pick looking to the future in New Orleans, and that's where we get the New Orleans Saints going with Bonham at number 18. So, Sonny, are there any quarterbacks that we looking at left, or have we seen the run of quarterbacks really be done?
Well, I think you still have Travis Bowman out of Georgia. He was part of the Bowman to Patrick connection we saw down there. You've also got his backup, Warren Allman, who also is from Georgia, and he was more the mobile quarterback they'd bringing on running downs. And then out of Alabama, you've got Matthew, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name.
Don't bother.
But I think there's still 3 good quarterbacks here, and you may see those all go here late in the first round.
At number 19, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Sonny, this is a team that I think everybody is seeing Jameis Winston at the helm. They thought offensively they're going to be good. Well, they were bottom 3 in every offensive category. They could not put the ball in the end zone. They could not move the ball. Defensively, they played well, and it's why they actually ended up being very competitive in a lot of these games. But offensively, they have needs. They have talent, of course. Mike Evans, still a very talented wide receiver. But at the end of the day, offensive line is a problem for them, and quarterback might be a need. Still think they believe in Jameis Winston. Where do the Buccaneers go?
Yeah, don't see the quarterback. Jameis Winston's still the guy down there. I think he's going to be the guy there for the foreseeable future. I think line is where I would go here. There's still a few good linemen on the board. With some first-round grades, I would probably look to J.C. Curry, the run blocker out of Texas A&M. He's a guy who excels in the run-blocking game. Going to need a little work on pass blocking, but if you're looking to improve the running attack down in Tampa, that's where I'd go.
Yeah, and let's see where the Buccaneers go as the pick is into the commissioner. The Buccaneers looking to be competitive in that NFC South, and some needs here in Tampa. There's no doubt they have talent, though, and I think, again, seeing a need as quarterback, this Buccaneers team believes in Jameis Winston. I think he's going to be the quarterback for at least the near future for the next couple of years. We're not looking at a Bonham situation where somebody's going to come in and draft him and have him sit behind famous Jameis. Jameis Winston's going to be the quarterback in Tampa Bay for the future, and with Mike Evans at wide receiver, it seems like the trenches is where to go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers or on the defense side of the ball, but this defense played so well. The defense is just going to get some more help as they take out the outside linebacker, Joseph Sonny, looking to shore up that defense that was very good in a division that had some prolific offenses. What does this guy add to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense?
Well, I got to tell you, I just don't see the fit. I don't see the fit. Joseph's an outside linebacker. He's your prototypical outside linebacker. He's going to get to the quarterback. However, he can't cover. He's never been asked to cover. He's not going to be asked to cover. But I think in the 4-3 they're running down in Tampa, he's going to have to try to cover somebody. And that one really surprises me there. I'm not sure what they're doing there unless they're making a switch to a 3-4.
We do have a video here for Clarence Joseph, the number 19 overall pick in Tampa Bay, as Delvar cues that bad boy up. Let's introduce you to who's going to be going down to Florida and helping shore up that Tampa Bay defense that's looking to win the NFC South.
To many in college football, this guy was known as the Beast of the ACC, nicknamed CJ90, Clarence Joseph, University of Clemson, 6'5", 257 pounds, 3'4" outside linebacker. Yeah, he's 24 years old, but he is the most versatile player in the MBL Season 27 Rookie Draft. He can cover, he can pass rush, he can run support, led the ACC in sacks and tackles for loss. You, sir, have just drafted yourself a beast. Congratulations. He'll make an impact week 1.
What a player going to Tampa Bay, Sonny. After watching the video on him, I think Tampa Bay fans got a little more excited to see this guy.
Well, they're excited that they're going to run a bunch of pass rushers on the field. They just better hope they can get to the quarterback before he throws the ball.
That's a fair point. Let's go to the number 20 overall pick, a team that I think everybody who watched NBL Live this season should be very familiar with, because the Indianapolis Colts were on NBL Live a lot. Owner touting his first full season back in the NBL. The Indianapolis Colts, Sonny, how good do you think the Indianapolis Colts were last year? I hear it go back and forth whether they were a good team with some bad luck or a bad team with some great luck.
They're the Colts.
I mean, 10-6.
They're the Colts. They win some, they lose some, and you can never predict what they're going to do. I honestly don't even know what they're going to do. I have no clue what they're going to do. It's tout, and defensive line I think is definitely in play. They've got some guys there that it's tout.
I think that explains everything. They added Barcavius. They lost Barcavius Mingo, they lost Frank Gore, brought in Jermaine Kearse, who should be a nice addition, as well as Carlos Hyde. They really believe in Carlos Hyde at the running back position. This was an offense that was incredibly prolific in the AFC South. NBL Bleacher Report pointing out they were 300 yards good on Sunny. They knew how to move the ball. Defensively, they had some troubles. They just missed out on the playoffs at 10-6. This Colts team looking to make the next step. And we will see where Tout and the Indianapolis Colts go with this number 20 overall pick. Sonny going with the bold decision of just not picking anybody. And funny enough, if Sonny, I think this is strategic, because by picking nobody here at number 20, you're already better than TFA, who would have picked somebody incorrect.
Well, the best part is TFA would have told you he had a source that told you who he was going to pick and then still been wrong.
Oh, he would have called Tout his best friend, right?
Yeah, something like that.
And folks, you got to stick with us to the end of the game, because we have a special thing we're going to be doing, Sonny. We're going to be handing out the Darren Pasinger bad pick of the NBL draft. Darren Pasinger, if you don't know NBL lore, went number 2 overall. And Sonny, to say he was a bust, to say it was a waste of pick at number 2, I don't think is strong enough.
Yeah, that was a defensive tackle at the 2nd overall pick, and let me point out that defensive tackle had basically no stats.
That's impressive. That is an impressive stat there, as the Indianapolis Colts do pick, and they go with the middle linebacker, Juan Sonny. They shore up the defensive side of the ball. They knew how to move the ball last season. They go on defense. Interesting pick at number 20, but I think one that Indianapolis fans should be happy about.
I like the pick here. I think the middle of the field for the Indianapolis Colts was soft. Obviously, on the back end, you do have Tout's favorite player, Malik Hooker, who did lead the league in interceptions, I believe. But now you've got a linebacker in the middle who can come down, lay the hit. There's some good running backs in the division: Leonard Fournette, DeMarco Murray. You've got Lamar Miller. So having a middle linebacker that can stop the run is going to be big.
Well, now we have at 21, the Carolina Panthers. Owner TFA, our resident Nostradamus, emphasis on no, because he does not know anything. Not anything. Nostradamus in Carolina. The Carolina Panthers, I think a key for the Panthers, Sonny, this season is purely the health of Christian McCaffrey, because this team, when they lost Christian McCaffrey, they went from what was looking like the best team in the NBL to what looking like the Jacksonville Jaguars in the NBL.
Yeah, and Christian McCaffrey was kind of the linchpin that kept this team together. I think he's a guy that you're really going to have to watch and try to figure out, Can he stay healthy? They go out, they try to pick up some running backs to back him up. I think the play here is defensive end. I've heard a lot of talk about the lack of pressure they were able to get for most of the year, and I think at this point you're looking on either of the defensive ends as far as maybe a Rashad Ellis or even a Tavon Gold. I could see either of these guys going here and trying to press that passer and get to the quarterback.
Tavon Gold. I have a feeling that might be a fit in Carolina because you know that TFA is going to start bragging about the gold standard. You know that's happening, but I do also know, Sonny, this is some inside information, that Carolina is big on the gooch. They love the gooch.
Yeah, everybody loves them some gooch.
I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't love a little gooch in their life? At number 21, we have the Carolina Panthers. Folks, we appreciate each and every one of you tuning in to the MBL Season 27 Rookie Draft. I'm OSU. I'm hanging out with my man, Sonny Weaver. Big shout-out to our producer, Delbar, behind the scenes. Of course, our mods in the chat. Even though I hate him, shout-out, Rose. Thanks for all you do, as well as the commissioner himself, Bomber, and I think we got Porter in the chat, and Decadog. We actually saw Decadog today, folks, as the pick is in, and Sonny, the gold standard's going to Carolina. This just seems like a perfect pick for TFA and the Carolina Panthers.
Well, yeah, I think it was a good pick for TFA. He needed to get some work on the outside and get some pressure, and I think that's really what you're going to get out of Tavon Gold.
Yeah, it should be a nice addition to a Carolina Panthers team looking to shore up the defensive side of the ball. But again, key for Carolina, just being healthy on the offensive side of the ball, making sure Christian McCaffrey, their weapon, stays healthy. At number 22, we should probably just skip this pick, right? Are we just skipping 22?
Something like that.
Something like that. Let's just skip the 22 pick. We've got the Tennessee Titans. Doesn't matter who they pick. They're going to be terrible. Owner, I don't know who Owl 165 is. I don't know who this is. But Sonny, let's take a journey. Where do you think the Tennessee Titans are going?
Well, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Not a lot of inside information there. No, seriously. There's a couple places I have some interest in. I think defensive line, specifically defensive tackle, is an area of need that can be addressed here. There's still a lot of good guys on the board, but I think outside linebacker is definitely an option here. Offense seems situated, young offensive line, young offensive weapons, probably somewhere in the front seven.
Is Gooch on the radar?
Unfortunately, Gooch does not fit in our. Yeah, we run a 3-4.
You can't fit the Gooch in.
We run a 3-4. He'd be more of a defensive end in our situation, and I don't see it.
We'll await this pick, which will for sure be disappointing. But the Tennessee Titans and owner Sonny Weaver looking to make a run next year. The one and done Titans looking to become the 2 and done Titans, and they have the number 22 overall pick. I'm just really disappointed that Gooch isn't on your radar. I know you play a 3-4. I just thought that if you take Gooch. I feel like I'm his agent right now. If you take Gooch, you can really turn him into the star that Tennessee needs.
Well, whenever there's a Gooch, there's a way, but I'm just not sure he fits here in Tennessee.
Do you regret Dingle Watch not being a thing here? Because I know you were looking at Dingle, didn't take Dingle, and now you're going to pass up on Gooch, really, as you take the outside linebacker, Nua. A nice pick, and feel free to talk about it for a second, but seriously, no Dingle, no Gooch. What's going on?
Well, what we like to have Anunwa, we think this may be Brian Arakpo's last year here. He's hinted at the possibility of retirement. He's getting up in there in age at 35 years of age, and we feel like Anunwa provides us with a speed presence, something we're lacking. We do sign Trent Murphy, but in the end, Anunwa is going to bring the speed off the edge, and we're really excited to see him play.
Darren Anunwa going to Tennessee. Yeah, nice pick out of Alabama, 6'4", 254, an explosive guy who's going to help the pass rush and also help shore up that run defense in Tennessee. Let's go to number 23. Sonny, is it weird seeing the Detroit Lions not at like the 31st or 32nd overall pick? They're at number 23.
Yeah, very much so. I think ooh.
You doing okay over there?
I fell out of my chair after talking to our boy Anunwa. No, anyways, Bomber, I think, was hoping he was going to see some wide receivers sitting here at number 23. Kind of surprising, but nonetheless, when he gets up there, you hope some wide receivers fall to you. It just didn't work out that way. If he's looking for some offensive linemen, there's still one on the board that I do like in the right tackle, J.C. Curry. There's some safeties back there. I don't think they go safety this early. Outside linebacker, there's still a couple on the board I could see him going.
Very interesting to see where the Detroit Lions go. Sonny, we're so used to seeing this Lions team be a dominant force in that NFC North. They struggled at times this year. How much of that was attributed to the injury to Matthew Stafford? He missed the last couple of weeks. That's where they had a lot of their trouble. How much was it to that? How much was it to just the players around Matt Stafford, even Matt Stafford himself not playing well?
Well, Stafford didn't really play well throughout the season. He started figure it out later in the year. But Brad Kai actually he did well. I'm a little surprised. I think he's got a future there, and I'll be curious to see how it goes. I think weapons are really what these Lions need, and I'm not sure they're going to find any here at 23.
Be interesting to see where the king himself goes at number 23. The Detroit Lions being known as sort of the wide receiver destination. The Lions and owner Bomber love taking wide receivers here, but they don't have a lot on the roster right now, so we don't know if there's a wide receiver prospect out there that Bomber likes at number 23. It'll be interesting to see where they go. Are you surprised, Sonny, that they traded the guy like Galladay? It seemed like he was a guy that fit right into the Lions' mantra, a quick wide receiver that they could either build into this outside threat or could put him in the slot and he'd be very effective. Are you surprised they traded him away?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not really sure what they did there. I think they got a little desperate for something at running back, and I'm not sure Keith Marshall is worth much more than just a something description there. But, Galladay, I liked what I saw there. Surprised he went for so little. I think it was Keith Marshall in the 3rd-round pick.
Yeah, I know a lot of people not big on Keith Marshall. An underrated acquisition, though, in Detroit is Clay Matthews, a leader on the defensive side of the ball, coming over from Green Bay. So a guy that the Detroit Lions know very intimately, a guy who has wreaked havoc in the backfields of the Detroit Lions. Now coming over to the Lions, and they go at number 23. The Lions shore up the trenches. They go defensive side of the ball. They take the tackle, Slade. Sonny, this Lions team, it's weird seeing them. Again, this is just odd for me, seeing them take a defensive player, a defensive tackle. They go with him at 23. What do you think of the pick?
It's an interesting pick. I'm not sure how he fits into a 4-3. Slade more of the big run-stopping nose tackle. Now, he is a powerful defensive tackle, so maybe they're thinking they're going to get some push up the middle. Thought there were some better options made for a 4-3, but nonetheless, Johnny Slade does have a lot of talent, and I think he's the guy that's going to help this team.
Let's go to the number 24 overall pick, and that team, we should probably just skip that one as well. We're just skipping teams all over the place here on the MBL Season 27 Rookie Draft. It is the Oakland Raiders. Sonny, no matter how much Shadow tries to say in the chat, the Raiders were a 12-4 team and made the playoffs last year. Needs on the offensive line, especially with the retirement of Donald Penn, but they pick up Alshon Jeffrey, showing up the wide receiving core. Where do you see the Raiders going here at 24? Predict what you think I'm going to do.
Well, Penn's gone. And again, let me go back to my boy, J.C. Curry, the right tackle from Texas A&M. I'm not sure he's much of a left tackle, but some flipping could be happen. Benny Logan makes me think that defensive line is out of the question. Offensive line, still some other options. Cornerback too early. And linebacker may be interesting. So I'm going to go ahead and say you go offensive lineman.
Our producer Delvar in our ear saying Gooch. If we didn't have so many signings in the offseason in free agency on the defensive line, Gooch would definitely be a pick here for the Raiders because seriously, Churfy Gooch is a great name. I just want to give somebody else the opportunity to have a guy named Churfy Gooch on their team and really show up the defensive line for somebody else. Although there is a possible need because we did sign a 35-year-old defensive tackle, so surely he's going to be retiring. Offensive line, of course, a need for us, as I'm just waiting to be allowed to make my pick.
Yeah,
what else am I supposed to say?
Maybe you could draft a Rascal Scooter for Alshon Jeffrey to get off the line because he is slowing down, and you gave him big money over a long-term contract.
Well, see, that was uncalled for. We were having a nice time here on the MBL Rookie Draft. And then you had to come in and just be rude, be all unisolated to me. Like, what are you doing? I thought we had something nice going.
Alshon Jeffrey, I think he can catch the ball. I worry about his ability to get open. He reminds me a little bit of Dez Bryant and his inability to get open downfield. He's more of a big body catching wide receiver. Reggie Nelson, what's the plan? You lost Reggie Nelson. What are you doing in the back?
We got Obi Melifonwu. who played great for us in relief because we had our safeties go down on multiple times. Belafonte played both free safety and strong safety and had some real nice plays on the defensive side of the ball. Seriously, whoever's controlling this thing, please let me pick. It's still pause for everyone else, right? Like
you're actually under 30 seconds on the pick right now.
How unfortunate things. Hey! Hold on, I gotta get back to who I'm picking. Live draft, ladies and gentlemen, here. I'm OSU, I'm hanging out with Sonny Weaver. That was a long time. That wasn't just me, right?
Yeah, that felt a little long. I think they were just trying to make you sweat a little bit, trying to help you out. There it is.
Hey, it's J.C. Curry.
J.C. Curry. Hey, tell us about our man, J.C. Curry.
J.C. Curry, we like him. 6'6", 321. A guy we think we can really develop. I don't think we're thinking about left tackle. I think we want to keep him at right tackle because he is so strong in the run game. The left tackle, we'd like to see more of a pass blocker on the left side. But at the end of the day, it's a big hole for us. Possibly can move Marshall Newhouse over to the left side. We'll see what we do with that. But J.C. Curry, we think, shores up the offensive line.
Righty, on to 26. Or 25. We're going to
look, it was like an hour and a half. I think we're on 32 at this point.
Hey, did you know J.C. Curry looks a lot like the halfback from Texas A&M? What was his name? Riley? J.C. Curry and Riley look a lot alike.
I'm comparing the... Yeah. Are they... Do we know? Are they twins?
They could be.
It's possible. We're breaking all sorts of news here on the MBL Rookie Draft here for season 2017. Or excuse me, season 27 here in 2017. I'm losing my mind here as we get through this draft. 25, we got the Arizona Cardinals and owner JY. Before he makes his pick, where do you think the Cardinals are going?
JY is kind of an interesting fellow. He actually possesses
understatement of the year.
The player, Devin Pasinger, who the award for the worst draft pick goes to, the Devin Pasinger Worst Pick of the Draft award. They do pick up Coney Ely to try to shore up the outside linebacker spot. Bashad Breeland comes in, which is a good call considering what we've seen so far. Offensive line appears to be the way they'll go.
They do go offensive line. They go with the right guard Carr in Arizona. A pick that the Arizona Cardinals, with that running game they want to get going in the NFC West. I think they're happy with this guy. Sonny, is this a long-term solution at right guard, or is this a reach at 25?
Maybe a reach at 25. I think there were still some better players on the board, especially tight ends were an option. But nonetheless, they got to protect Carson Palmer. I could have even seen a quarterback going there, honestly.
Can I just love how much I love seeing on key losses kickers? Phil Dawson, a key loss.
That's one of your key losses. You apparently didn't lose much.
Yeah, that's just a good sign if you're a team and one of your key losses is your kicker. Let's go to number 26. One of the nice stories here in the NBL, it's the Chicago Bears and owner Bob. A great season for Chicago. Sonny, one of the better seasons we saw in the NBL. Sort of out of nowhere. The Bears do a great job in that very competitive NFC North. They have the 26th overall pick. Chicago, of course, no more Zach Miller, no more Pernell McPhee, no more Lamar Houston. So some big names gone in Chicago, but they signed Terrell Pryor to shore up the wide receiving core. But we know needs, especially at the back of the defense, and of course on the defensive line. Where do you see the Bears going here with number 26?
Well, right now I like Rashad Ellis, the left end, or I could be talked into maybe Frederick Ferguson, the right end. If you're looking to get some pass rush, those are the two guys I'm looking at here. Maybe even Haynes Robinson, another Louisville player. That Louisville defense last year was really good. Now, what I will say, though, is it's now getting into the territory that if you're looking for the top safety, Deion Sutton out of Texas A&M could be in play here. And so I don't think it's too early to take a safety now. We always talk about safeties being kind of an overvalued position here in NBL. Dime a dozen. Shouldn't say overvalued. Should say undervalued. I think here now at 26, they're definitely in play.
Yeah, for sure. We haven't seen a safety go off the board yet. So some talent at the safety position. If that's where the Bears want to go. Sonny, look at these three teams. You got the Lions, you got the Vikings, and you got the Bears. Right now, not knowing this pick, where do you see the Bears lining up with those three next season?
I think the Bears are in the hunt. I thought they were going to win the division this year. They had a little bit of meltdown going down the stretch, but definitely they're in the hunt here.
Well, the pick is in. It is defensive line. They go with the left end Sensabaugh. Sonny, they want to get more of a pass rush on these prolific passers in the NFC North, and they get one in Sensabaugh. A nice pick there for the Chicago Bears.
What prolific passers were in the NFC North again?
Look, Matt Stafford is still there in the NFC North, and even though he was hurt for half the year, he's still a prolific passer.
But
and of course, you got to stop against the hotback.
You said
drop
plural.
back. Sorry, drop
you
back.
said plural. I said
drop back. I said hotback. Drop
There's
back.
one passer in that league and a bunch of other guys. Aaron Rodgers got that broken tailbone this year.
What you don't think Aaron Rodgers is a prolific passer?
I think Aaron Rodgers and MBL may be over the hill and about ready to be done.
Well, let's go. Let's stay in that NFC North. Let's go to the Minnesota Vikings and owner Hop. The Vikings, very nice season last year, going 10-6. And this Vikings team, well, a couple needs here for the Minnesota Vikings. Namely, you're looking for Minnesota to help on the offensive side of the ball. They want to be able to keep up with some of these offenses, maybe separate themselves out. Offensive line was a big need, though, because they could not protect the quarterback at times. No more Sam Bradford in Minnesota. They bring in Jason Morrow, but this team needs help in the trenches, Sonny. You got to think another offensive lineman. If there's one that is not a reach here at 27 is where Minnesota's going.
Well, yeah, they've got some questions there. Cornerback, they'd love to get a cornerback right now, but there aren't any on the board. I think safety's in play. Again, this is the time where you can start looking safeties. And then there's a few remaining 4-3 outside linebackers that I would consider here.
Let me ask you this. With the Minnesota Vikings, Teddy Bridgewater, a very big question as to whether he is not only talented enough to stay as a top-tier quarterback, but if he can stay healthy enough. Is Bridgewater the right choice to be going with in Minnesota?
Well, he better be because I think they re-signed him long-term. So
They did. That's the question. He took a big contract.
Well, in that case, I guess they're going free safety.
Oh, they are. It is Sutton, the free safety, first safety off the board here in the MBL Rookie Draft at number 27. This guy's a ball hawk, Sonny. He's going to help out the pass defense, trying to guard against some of those deep balls that Matt Stafford will surely be chucking, and maybe Aaron Rodgers if he doesn't have a broken tailbone.
Yeah, actually, I really liked Sutton. I thought, the problem was the undervaluing of the safeties in the NBL, but I think this guy is definitely good enough to get down the field and cover some of the best receivers in NBL, and he can play that center field that really they need in Minnesota to go next to Harrison Smith.
At number 28, we have the champions of the AFC West. It is the Los Angeles Chargers. This Chargers team, their defense was absolutely stellar last year. The number one scoring defense in the NBL, averaging only 11 points per game on the defensive side of the ball. And offensively, well, they have Melvin Gordon, of course, averaged 6.2 yards per carry. He is, of course, a great running back. And even when he got hurt, they brought in Brandon Oliver, who still averaged 5.4 yards per carry. They struggled to throw the ball with Phillip Rivers. And the question is, do they have a need at wide receiver? Here at number 28, a lot of guys off the board. Possibly, maybe a quarterback, Sonny. Is there a chance they do what the Saints did and take a quarterback to sit behind Phillip Rivers for a year if there is one available?
Yeah, I think Travis Bowman should be the pick here. You've got Phillip Rivers for maybe one more season. I think Bowman could be the heir apparent. Let him sit behind Rivers for a year, and you've got your quarterback of the future next year.
Yeah, Sonny, how important is it for a young quarterback to get to learn from somebody like Phillip Rivers, like a Drew Brees, and have no pressure of playing barring any sort of injury?
Well, it goes both ways. Some teams like it, some don't, and it appears the Chargers
they don't like it.
Don't want to wait.
Yeah, they're not a fan. They're not a fan. They go defensive line. They take the left end, Robinson, going to shore up that defense. And this is a guy, Sonny, who's going to play on the opposite side of Joey Bosa. How formidable is that defensive line now in LA?
I mean, yeah, that defensive line is nuts.
Ridiculous.
And
nuts.
So
that's the technical term, I believe.
They got a lot of pass rush there in San Diego to go with some of
They're not in San Diego. They're in Los Angeles.
They will always be San Diego to me.
That's fair. The Baltimore
so,
Colts had a great draft this year.
They did. The Baltimore Colts. You got to love them.
Yeah, you have no idea. I was literally just about to say I did so good calling them the Los Angeles Chargers, and then you had to go in and say the San Diego Chargers, so I'm going to mess that one up. Coming up now, the San Francisco Giants, or New York, if you want to stay all current on the teams, and owner Bananas at 29. Sonny, we know what Bananas likes as an owner. It is speedy wide receivers at number 29. Do the Giants go offensively and try to put somebody on the opposite side of OBJ?
No. I think they got Sterling Shepard there, and they've got Odell Beckham Jr. Running back is interesting here. Petaway is not the kind of back you're used to seeing owner Bananas use, but I think
they go Petway. Good call. You're welcome.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all.
Wow, that was easy.
Yeah.
All right.
And predicting who they're going to take isn't that hard, is it, Sonny?
Apparently not. I'm doing all right.
TFA, actually, by the way, we heard that he had predicted the New York Giants were going to take Robinson, the left end. Unfortunately, he was already taken at 28. Oddly enough, TFA made that pick after the Chargers pick, so he's really not good at this game.
Nice.
Well, at number 30, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Sonny, is it weird to call the Pittsburgh Steelers a disappointment, going 16-0? What a great season they had, but they end up losing in the AFC Championship game to the New England Patriots. Is it fair calling that a disappointment from what sort of regular season they had?
Yeah, in that organization, I think it is. You play to win championships in Pittsburgh, and they just came up a little bit short this year, it seems. Looking at the team, they've got some
quality. Got a lot. This is a talented team.
It's very, very talented team, and that's one of the issues here. I'm not sure what they do. I think there's some options at end if they decide to do that. Put someone opposite Cameron Hayward. I believe Tuitt may be re-signed long term though, so maybe it's the replacement for Hayward. I don't know.
Yeah, Margarito Malone's still there. Somebody who's still on the board.
Here's what's interesting. Travis Bowman from Georgia, quarterback. How much longer does Ben Roethlisberger have, and are the Steelers content with Dotson?
Well,
there it is, Josh Dobbs.
You nailed it.
Who knows?
Third time's the charm, Sonny.
I worked through it.
Professional. Hooked on phonics. Chirpy Gooch is off the board. Gooch watch 2017 is over. The Gooch is going to Pittsburgh. What a day for the Steelers. Mark them down. Super Bowl champions in season 27.
We've got the Gooch calls. The Gooch calls have started in the chat room, folks. We're screaming, Gooch. We want more Gooch.
Gooch. Cleveland Browns owner Z-Star saying the Gooch haunts me twice a year. 6'1", 287. Very quick for his size, Sonny. We're talking about on MBL Blitz. This guy's going to wreak havoc in the north, and then we're going to get to hear that Gooch chant in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, kind of interested to see how Gooch plays in this 3-4 Pittsburgh runs now. He's a little undersized, I think, to play the nose tackle. We'll be curious if they run more 4-3 sets to try to get him offset in that 3 technique, or if they do line him straight up in the 1 technique.
Well, let's go to the last 2 picks. It was our 2 Super Bowl contenders here. First from the AFC side, unfortunately coming up short was the New England Patriots. At 31, Sonny, this is a team, they were not the best in the NBL. 9-7 on the year, but it's not about who the best teams are in the Super Bowl. It's about who are the hottest, and the New England Patriots able to get hot at the right time. They struggled to move the ball, Sonny. We saw it on in the NBL live on the playoffs. The Patriots just could not move the ball. Is there an offensive weapon that is still available here at the bottom of the first round, or are we going to see the Patriots go back to the defensive side of the ball where they were firmly middle of the pack?
Well, I'm not sure the Patriots need to add any more additions. Running back, they've got some guys there that can do what they need to do. They do add some linebacker help in Bradham and Mingo. They spent some serious money there. Defensive line's interesting. I think there's some options there. I'm not sold on the defensive tackles they have in New England. So I could see a defensive tackle come off the board here. And possibly if their ratings are different than mine, I could see an offensive lineman.
Yeah, they did bring back to New England Barkevious Mingo, one of my favorite names. I love Barkevious Mingo, and not just because he was a former Cleveland Brown. He was terrible in Cleveland, though, so that gives me a reason to hate him, but Barkevious Mingo. Michael Crabtree coming from Oakland to New England, playing on the other side of Brandon Cooks in New England. It'll be interesting to see if the Patriots work more in the passing game, especially with Tom Brady. Sonny, you got to think James White might not be the answer at running back. There are some halfbacks still available here at the end of the first round. The pick is into the commissioner. We'll see what Timbo goes, and he goes defensive line once again. It is left end Ellis going to New England, shoring up that defense. An interesting pick there for New England, looking to stay atop the division.
There's been a nice run on kind of defensive front 7 the last couple picks, and we get another one at 32.
Oh, he just picked.
That happened.
That just happened. Well, at 32, we had the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks were apparently in line behind the New England Patriots to give their pick to the commissioner, because that pick's already in. They go with the outside linebacker Drakeford, the Super Bowl champion Seahawks. No need to talk about them anymore. Sonny, will the Seahawks repeat with the pick of Drakeford?
False.
Okie dokie. Good talk. Yeah, you weren't big on the Seahawks anyways, and then they ended up winning the Super Bowl just despite you.
Yeah, the right place, right time. They were maybe the 4th or 5th best team in the league last year.
Well, yeah, that's the first round. That ended very abruptly, Sonny. It was sort of like my love life ending abruptly here, and that's gonna do it for the first round. Sonny, we got to give out. We got to give out our selection for a prestigious award, the Darren Paysinger Worst Pick of the Draft Award. We'll start with that one, and then we'll go to who you think had the best draft. You got an idea of who you think had the worst pick here in the first round?
Oh, yeah, and I'm not even sure it's debatable.
Okay. Who is it?
My pick for the Darren Paysinger Worst Pick Award goes to entering in the Dallas Cowboys for taking the tight end Dwyer. Not a fan. Not a fan. Not
a fan of that one. Lots of picks coming in. A lot of people saying Kyle, the Seattle Seahawks owner, with that quick pick at the end. Sonny, who do you think had the best draft?
There's a lot of them up there. It's easy to take the Bills or the Browns because they had multiple first-round picks. I think that's kind of a cop-out, maybe. But what I will say is, the Bills, they got Marsh at 13. I think that's a really good value. I kind of like what the New Orleans Saints did with Bonham at number 18.
I think Bonham is a smart one. How about look at number 6, the Green Bay Packers going with the halfback Riley. This guy could be dynamic in the MBL. Look out for him. I think you're going to hear his name called a lot in the MBL. Our own Bomber saying, what about some honorable mentions for the Paysinger Awards? Sonny, I think at the end of the day, I think a lot of teams filled a need or at least picked best player available. Maybe Sensabaugh for the Bears. There's been some questions as to how good Sensabaugh actually is and how that'll translate. But for the most part, I think everybody did a really good job. Sonny, is there any other pick that stands out that could be an honorable Paysinger award winner?
No, I think it was the Cowboys running away with that one.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys. Your trophy will be in the mail. It's actually just a picture of JY and a thumbs down. So that's good for you in Dallas. What a draft. First round of the draft is over. We appreciate everybody tuning in here today. A lot of fun, a great show we have here on the MBL Network. We appreciate each and every one of you, even bum-ass Shadow Rose. We appreciate him tuning in, I guess. Sonny, now we got to look forward to season 27. What sort of overall predictions do you have for the upcoming season?
There's going to be happy people. There's going to be sad people. There's going to be a whole lot of
John
gooch.
Madden. Oh, there is going to be a lot of gooch. The gooch in Pittsburgh. He probably had the best pick, honestly. I mean, of course. What a draft we had, though, folks. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. For my co-host, Sonny Weaver, and, of course, our producer behind the scenes, Delvar, pulling all the strings for us on this draft special. I'm OSU. Please go over to our Twitter and follow us at Bomber League or hit that subscribe button down low so you know each and every time we go live. We'll see you on this upcoming season in season 27 right here on MBL Live.